Right. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for joining us today. We're excited to have Celerant here to help us explore how bicycle retailers can embrace a complete digital landscape strategy to be more competitive. It's very competitive out there online right now, and we want to help bicycle retailers really dial in their digital strategy. With the influence from the pandemic, people's consumers' shopping habits have shifted, and a vast majority of sales now begin online. It's very important for bicycle retailers to adopt strategies to make sure that they are found. So in this session, Celerant, who is an NBDA association member and has been helping the industry, retailers in varying industries tackle this, is going to walk us through how we can grow our digital strategy, tips and best practices to ensure that our websites rank high on Google results, how we can create content that's engaging and different and gets people to engage with us on multiple levels, how we can build our online community and brand image, and then they're going to dive into some specifics on emails. So lots here. It's going to be a very exciting hour. We'll save our questions to the end and dive into it. And with that, I'd like to introduce Michelle Salerno from Celerant, who's been a great partner with the MBDA. And I'll let her kick us off. Thank you, Michelle.
Awesome, Heather. Thank you. Nice to be here. Nice to have the opportunity to get in front of y'all. There's a lot that we want to talk about, all primarily focused on digital strategy, online, e-commerce, marketing. But before we get to it, my name is Michelle. As Heather said, I head the marketing team, also strategic partnerships here at Celerant. I'm with Celerant for a little over 18 years at this point. I work in our main office, which is now in New Jersey. We were always based in New York. And I'm just happy to be here. Zeke, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Zeke Hamdani, and I'm the Director of Web Services at Celerant. So I oversee all the digital initiatives at Celerant for our clients and ourselves. Work out of our Atlanta office. We have a small office in Atlanta for the last 18, 19 years, actually. And I've been with the company for about 20 years, actually 20 plus years. And like Michelle said, we are super excited to share what we have learned, what we propose to our clients and friends on how they can take their business online and how they can really succeed online. Just like Heather said, it's super competitive, just like almost every other space.
Yeah.
So.
And so we'll jump in. Before we get to it, I'm just going to introduce who we are at Celerant for those of you who maybe don't know us yet. But we, as we mentioned, I'm in the New Jersey office, Zeke's in Atlanta. We've got 7 offices, really all over. We have about 190 team members, and we've been serving the retail space for almost 25 years. So we've got retailers using our software across all retail markets, from bikes to sporting goods to hunt, camp, fish to apparel and clothing stores, footwear, you name it. We've got retailers in that market. And so we provide a complete retail solution in store and online, point of sale, e-commerce, mobile apps, digital marketing, and all sorts of stuff. But today we really are going to focus on not so much the point of sale piece. Obviously most everybody here, of course, has a brick and mortar store. But today we really want to talk more about digital and how, as a bike retailer, you really need to incorporate a more all-encompassing digital strategy to be successful. So first, we'll just start with this quick little intro, which is really kind of everything that we do at Celerant and everything that we talk to our retailers about. So most everybody, when they first come to us, they come to us, phase 1 is their problem, their challenge. They need a new point of sale. They need a new e-commerce site. Maybe they don't even have e-com. Maybe they do. Maybe they want to revamp it. But that is always the first goal, is to get an innovative point of sale and have e-commerce and hopefully use vendor integrations, right? Be hooked up with a e-commerce vendor who has online feeds and drop ship and all these different things for your bike distributors that you need as a bike shop. But phase 2, and what we're really going to jump in today, and also phase 3, is expanding your digital strategy. So we're going to talk about not just having an e-commerce site, but it's what you do after that site goes live that really determines the success of that site. Things like SEO, search engine optimization, We're going to talk about email marketing, marketplace integrations. So not just selling on your e-commerce, but also expanding all of the online channels and marketplaces that maybe you are selling on. And then phase 3 is what we consider really taking your business to that next level. So things like adding on a mobile shopping app, right? Target and some of these bigger retailers, they all have apps, and you may not yet have your own mobile shopping app, but it's super important to get one and expand your online strategy with a mobile app. And then with a mobile app, not only can you get literally in your customers' pockets, but you can also expand with your mobile marketing. So we're going to talk a lot about all of that. So the main 5 topics, of course, is the bike boom, right? So I am at the point where I don't even want to talk about this pandemic anymore. We can happily now say post-pandemic, but it's obvious, it's obvious back in 2020, there was a lot happening in the market. So we're going to talk about that boom. And really, it wasn't just the pandemic that caused the digital shift. So we're going to talk about more of all that. We're going to talk about you need to be online, expanding past your storefront, how to do it, not just with e-commerce, but also a mobile app. Once you launch that website, what's next? And that's where SEO comes in. And personalizing your email marketing. So hopefully everybody here is sending emails, but are you sending mass messages to your entire customer base? Or are you sending personalized messages based on triggers in your software? And then, of course, how you can bring it all together to really be as competitive as possible to help you sell more. So let's get into it. My goal for today is, whether you're using our software or not, regardless of what point of sale or e-commerce software you're using, hopefully you'll leave here with some new tips and tricks and ideas. Take some of this to your provider. Take it to whomever you're using for point of sale or e-commerce and see what they're capable of and what they can help you do. Because a lot of them are probably able to do some of this, or maybe even hopefully all of it. But all right, let's jump in. So first, we'll look at sort of what's happened over the past couple of years. I was actually not laughing, but saying with Zeke this morning how it's been 4 years since everything kind of, got crazy. Time flies. And we're at a point where I actually changed the way this slide was worded because I didn't even want to, talk about the whole pandemic anymore. But you can see, we all know what happened in 2020. That chart went way up. It was the big boom because people were buying bikes like never before. People were starting to ride bikes like never before. Nobody could keep up with what was going on. We couldn't even keep up with inventory back then.
You can find it anywhere, even places like Walmart and Target, you can find a bike. I remember.
And we were at that point, we at Celerant, we were hooking up with all these distributors and we were talking about online fees and dropship and endless aisle and doing all this cool stuff online, but there was no aisle, let alone endless aisle. There was no product. That, of course, has balanced out, today. That sort of sales volume is obviously not sustainable. It's not going to last forever. So it definitely dropped a bit that following year. And now it is slowly climbing back up, but it's going to take a long time, if ever, to get back to that point. But you can see here the projection for the next couple of years. And what's interesting, I know, Heather, you're always talking about this too in your emails, is the e-bikes, right? So the e-bike market, that area specifically is expected to grow 8%, which is even much higher than the overall growth of the whole industry. So the e-bikes is definitely an area to watch, as we know. But the shift to digital, the long and short of it is this. It's really simple. If you're not online, if you're not thinking about expanding your online presence, you're going to be really doing yourself a disservice. You need to be where your customers are in order to be competitive in today's market. And it's not just the shift from the pandemic. It's also the younger generation coming in. Your consumers are buying differently today than they were a couple of years ago, or, even 4 or 5 years ago. So we put some stats up here. The first is 90% of mobile internet is now spent on apps. Mm-hmm. That's a really big number. 90% is on apps. Another one, 83% of customers use apps to browse store-bought items. So again, those two are related to apps, but this next stat is probably one of my favorites. Heather said it, as we opened up today's call. the majority, 63% to be exact, but the majority of purchases start online, even if they end in your store. And I mean, this is just common knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Retailers are shopping all different ways. They're on their phones, they're on their apps, they're in your store, they're browsing, they're looking, they're buying same day. So they're shopping, they're starting those journeys online.
Michelle, I think this number probably should have been higher. If I were to guess the number, I would have guessed higher than 63
It
because
might
all
even
that's
be
all I
higher than
see.
63.
Yeah, 63 is high, but still, I see almost every sale starting with something digital.
Yeah.
Like everybody does some sort of research before going into any store or anything, right? So interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this next one is specifically talking about Gen Zers, but they prefer to buy online via Amazon. So, whether you're selling on Amazon or not, it's the concept of not just selling on your website, selling on very popular online marketplaces and being able to do all that, with a centralized system. So, I probably would bet that everybody on this call has e-commerce. Maybe not everyone, but hopefully most have a website. So the first thing you need to look at is your website, right? Just because you have a website doesn't mean you're done. There are a lot of things that you can enhance to your website. We really recommend looking at your platform and looking at how you're able to serve your customers, what you're able to offer them on that website, and if it makes sense based on the whole omni-channel strategies of today. So things like BOPIS, buy online, pick up in store, or ROPIS, reserve online, pick up in store, where they can search your website, they can know exactly what's in stock at your store, even if you have multiple stores, and be able to go into your store and pick it up same day. So regardless of, what different communities you serve, if you have 10 stores, 20 stores, or just one store, your website is going to know exactly what each store location has in stock and available to be picked up that day. Also, curbside pickup, right? That became really popular during the pandemic, but being able to streamline that process and really do it in a way where you can just text message, right? A text message can go to your consumer, your order's ready to pick up. Click this link as soon as you're at spot 22 or at the curb, or however you want to set it up. When your customer gets there, they can just click the link and boom. They don't need to call, they don't need to even go through an email. They can just click links in text messages, and it really is that easy. Just as if they were going to Walmart or any of these other, bigger tier 1 merchants. Different things like online classes, virtual consultations, all that kind of stuff is important. It was much more important a couple of years ago when you couldn't have that in-store experience. But different things too, like buy now, pay later. So think of how many more bikes and products you can sell if you're offering an integration to something like Affirm or Sezzle or Cordova or whoever it is that you want to work with for buy now, pay later. You can let your customers pay for that bike right now in full, or you can let them split it up into 4 payments with no APR, or you can split it over, however many months with APR at much smaller payments. You'll sell more bikes and you'll increase your average ticket size.
Yeah. Another thing that plays into this is, customers who have, let's say, a firm account or a Sezzle account. What they have is when they see those logos on your website, they already know that it's going to be super easy. It's going to just go onto their account and they know how it works. So there is some familiarity that you gain right away by having those well-known names on your site for, buy now, pay later. And like Michelle said, we always see an increase in conversion based off that.
And, with the market, especially now, times are hard. And, the easier you can make it for your customers to make purchases, the better. And so being able to split it into multiple payments and talking about the younger generation too, I read something a couple of weeks ago where the younger generation, they're actually leaning more on buy now, pay later than they even are credit cards. They actually don't like credit cards, but the whole buy now, pay later concept, the younger generation love. So again, it's just all about shifting your strategy and figuring out ways to be able to sell based on the needs of the consumers. And the buy now, pay later, you don't only have to do on your e-commerce, you can do it in your store too. And there's seamless integrations with the POS, like with our software. it's like either a QR code or it just sends a message to the consumer's phone. They fill it out on their phone. They don't have to touch your computer. It all communicates instantly. You can put signs in the store. It's really cool and frictionless, this whole buy now, pay later concept, both in the store and on your website. And the last thing we have on here is vendor fees and dropship. This is less about, the online digital surge, but really it's not, because you can hook up with your distributors. You can pull online product fees, launch your website faster, and then you can even facilitate dropship. So depending on the distributors you work with, if they dropship or not, if your e-commerce provider can offer this, you can pull their product feeds. You can sell any product that they have in stock in their warehouse. You can make it available for sale on your website, and you can have the distributor drop ship it to your consumer on your behalf. And think how many more products you can sell if you're not actually stocking the merchandise. Right. So this was a concept that we were kind of building out during the pandemic with like 25 different bike distributors. And at that time, inventory was so minimal that it was challenging to market that endless aisle. But of course, now with everything balancing back out, it's a whole nother story, and it becomes really important.
Michelle, there's one more that I think is really important point for the digital presence in the bike world is the repairs. Yeah. So, the high-end bikes, they need to be repaired, maintained and all, and having a system that basically makes it easier for the consumer, where they know how much it's going to cost, when to make the appointment, when to expect the bike, is it done or not? Those things go a long way, is, what I've heard from, people in the industry. Mm-hmm. I'll talk more about that in the app section.
Yeah.
That's basically your app.
And the interesting part there is, it's all about how you can make your website more self-serving, right? Consumers today want to be able to go to your website and really be able to do so many things, and be able to look up, like Zeke said, repairs and whatever it might be, but have your website be more self-serving and provide your consumers with the ability to do more on your website, whether it's make purchases or do things like that. So a mobile app, this is another really important part, or should be another really important part to your digital strategy. So, a lot of the retailers that we work with over the years, we serve a lot of different markets, like I mentioned, but there's one thing that's pretty consistent across all retail markets. And regardless of the size of the retailer, retailers tend to not have time, right? You're busy. You're working your store, you're selling to customers, you're figuring out your marketing. You just don't have time. Your time is very limited. And running your store, running your e-commerce takes good time. And sometimes, you think about that mobile app, and yet it seems like it might be nice to have, but holy moly, how am I even going to keep up with it? How am I going to maintain now another sales channel? I can barely keep up with what I have. There's a lot of reasons why smaller retailers might not already have an app, even though apps are not new, right? There's nothing new about a mobile app. They've been around for years. But what we are trying to do at Celerant is really encourage as many of our retailers as possible to add this on to their strategy. It is super important. And if you're using the right platform, technology platform, you can add on an app without even adding on a ton of extra work. So, and again, not to pitch Celerant here, but I'll just speak to what we know because it's what we know. But like with our system, you can manage everything in one place. You can enter your products, your product images, change your pricing, whatever you want to do, you do it in one place. That one central place updates your e-commerce, your store, your app, your marketplaces. All your sales channels get updated when you make your update in one place. So it just saves you a ton of time by using the right type of system to be able to facilitate all of this from one place. Mm-hmm. The other thing, I, of course, am in marketing. So marketing is my passion. And retailers don't necessarily think about this when they think about an app. Of course, it's a new way to sell. Of course, it's a new way to, get in your customers' pockets, right? Because you're literally on their phone. But you may not realize you're also opening up an entirely new way to market to your customers. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk in a minute about email marketing, and hopefully everyone's sending emails, but you can also send push notifications right from your app directly to your customers' phones. And just think about, I don't have a stat, I probably should get one, but just think about how many more people are opening those push notifications that look just like a text message versus an email. So you can really do a ton with that mobile app and really help incorporate a much more comprehensive digital strategy by then sending push notifications. And so also though, with the app, there's all kinds of things you can do as far as different sales. And there's even, Zeke, what were you working on with geo tracking? Is that still something that's happening?
Yeah.
Where
It's basically, I'm sure a lot of people have experienced this. Walmart does this. So if you're inside Walmart, they know, and they know which location you're in, and then the app changes accordingly. So it's basically to that effect, where you can market accordingly when somebody's in the vicinity. Of course, staying within the Apple and Google restrictions, because there's a lot of restrictions on privacy and all. But the concept is basically the app behaves a little differently when you are in the vicinity, and like you mentioned, the push notifications already. So you can do, in addition to what you can do normally on the app, you can take it as far as checking pricing, checking inventory. If the store is big enough, then you can even see the aisle and all that stuff. So it's very similar to what Walmart does on their app.
Yeah. And it's like every time I go to Costco, the movie theater is right next door, and that's where I always take my kids. And the movie theater has this geo tracking. And every time I go to Costco, I get a push notification from the movie theater encouraging me to come in and whatever, try to get me to come see a new movie. And definitely they have some geo tracking set up, because as soon as I go over there, I get those push notifications every time. So it's that same kind of concept. There's a lot that you can do when you have a mobile app. And it'll boil down to how much you want to take advantage of it and how creative you want to get as far as these push notifications. Because even these push notifications, the big thing with an app, and we're going to talk about it. Let me flip it over. Well, not quite yet, but in another couple of slides, with the email marketing, it's about sending personalized messages, less mass messages. You're not sending out, push notifications to thousands of people at one time. You're sending personalized push notifications to specific customers based on triggers, which we're going to talk through in just a minute. So some other awesome ways, as the slide says, to expand your sales, some different things. So we talked about online marketplace integrations. So whether you're selling on Amazon or Walmart or eBay, anybody can sell. Of course, you have to be an approved retailer, but you can sell on any of the marketplaces. But there's also integrations, right? Your software, e-commerce, point of sale software might integrate with the marketplaces. And in that case, you can save time and you can connect your inventory. So you can push products on hand, inventory counts right from your database to the marketplace. You can post listings to the marketplace from your software. You can have that inventory connected. So as soon as a sale is made in your store, it's deducted from the inventory on the marketplace. It's reflected automatically. You can also pull back online orders. It'll flow right into your system as if it's coming from your own website. And, think about how many more consumers you can get in front of when you're leveraging the brand power of Amazon or Walmart, and some of these other major marketplaces that you can sell your products on. There's also things out there. Probably everybody's familiar with Trek and Locally and the whole concept there. But through a company like Locally, you as a small independently owned retailer can sell your products on the major brands' websites. And you can get more local business in your store thanks to the major brand's website. So even if you yourself don't have e-commerce, or maybe you do have e-commerce, it doesn't matter. You can send your on-hand inventory from your point of sale to Locally, and then Locally facilitates this, right? You can sell products on the brand's website to help bring you business to your store. Another company out there called Quivers is one that where we've been partnered with Locally for years, but we're also coming soon, we're introducing a new Quivers integration as well. It's the same kind of concept, right? It's not just for in-store local business, but it's also to fulfill orders online and just capture more orders by leaning on your major brands. And then, of course, social media, right? We didn't even talk about social media yet. There's so much to talk about when we talk about all this, but connecting your website to social platforms, not just posting, that's super important. Building your community on Facebook, Instagram, all these different platforms, but also connecting your e-commerce so you can sell more.
Yes. And that's huge because, we all are on social media. We all
Too
know
much.
that. We may deny it, but that's the reality. But yeah, so Facebook is now starting April 24th, I believe. Facebook and Instagram are starting to have the checkout done on their platform. So it is, and I've tested that, and it is very, very frictionless, as in it's super easy to make the purchases, and that's basically their whole goal. So what it is now is, before it used to be you could submit your catalog to Facebook, Instagram, and then you could tag your products in your posts. And then people will click on the little bag icon and see the products, and they'll click on it. They'll take them to your website, and they will finish the sale on your website. Now it's all done on this platform. They do not want consumers to leave their platform.
Mm.
So the checkout happens on that. And it's similar to Amazon, model, where they will take some fees as well. It's not as high as Amazon. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the fee is about 5%, which include credit card fees, marketing fees, all of that. So it's not that bad, actually, if you really do the math. Because that's how much it costs you to sell on your website too, keeping all things in mind. So this is something that I think is going to take off big time. And, and we made sure we are on the ball for that, and support our clients with that. And I'm sure most of you guys will have this capability to do this on your systems, because it's pretty commonly done. So I would say certainly take advantage of that. And also,
And
going back to one
let's
point on
also,
locally,
sorry, go ahead.
you said, Michelle, you said you can sell, your products on major brands. So basically, I just want to clarify that it's not similar to Amazon and eBay's. This is basically your brands are sending, traffic back to you, or your local traffic. So it's their way to, and they all do slightly differently, but it's basically, if you are in some rural area and a user is looking for a product that you carry, they will basically send it over to you, which is a great thing. You should not pass on that opportunity.
Yeah, because you can lean on the brand to get these new customers that would never find you. And these customers want local same day pickup. So the brand is pushing you business to help provide faster service locally, hence locally, for the consumer. And you, as the retailer, get that business to help facilitate that. So it really is a win-win-win for the brand, for you, and obviously for the consumer. I want to hit real quick on Google too, Zeke, before I flip this slide, because this is a brand new integration that I can tell you we're working on at Celerant, but there's a lot of things changing on the Google side, and there's a lot of local opportunity for Google. Of course, you want to win all those near me searches, right? But there's ways that you can integrate your point of sale data, your on hand data to Google directly, so that when local customers are searching for products in your area, you will come up faster. And then there's also really cool ways that in those, if you add on like local ads, which you can, or you don't have to even do, you can still send your on-hand data even if you're not paying for local ads on Google. But there's even ways soon that you're going to be able to, consumers will be able to click on that Google ad that just says buy now. And then when you click it, it's going to drop the consumer right into your website shopping cart. And it's all based on local searching. So there's just so much that's changing, every couple of months with all this online and Google and all these different platforms. And it's just really important to be staying on top of it and learning and, kind of understanding what's happening and what opportunity there is available, because there's so much that's out there that's available and you just may not realize.
Yeah. And if any of you are thinking of Google product feed, so this is basically the next generation of Google product feed. We've had Google product feed for years, and it works. Actually, one of the best things to do for your website is to put a Google product feed. It puts you in the shopping area on Google. but this is like taking it to the next level.
And
Enhancing the local, and you guys are basically, your main focus would be local anyway. So this will show you the little icons, this product available 1.2 miles away in stock. So when a consumer sees that, that's all they want to see. They're like, okay, let's go. I'm going to go get it right now. And then, it'll take it further where you can do the online pick up, in-store pickups, like Michelle was saying. So absolutely not something to miss out on.
And doing those local Google feeds is one of the most common things that our e-commerce clients want. They all want to do it, and they all do it and take advantage of it because it's just so important.
Yeah, and you can also do ads on them. And I have heard anecdotally, I don't have any facts or data sheet to back that up, but I've heard from a few client of ours that the Google, sponsored shopping ads, they work like magic. As in, we've seen people getting 400% response, return on investment and all of that stuff. So that's also something I would suggest everybody explores. You don't need our software for that. You don't need any software. You can just go into Google and do it.
Mm-hmm. All right. So getting back to our agenda here, because Zeke and I can just talk about some of this stuff.
Before we know, it'll be 5 p.m. and everybody will be asleep.
Yeah. So we will keep it brief. So, but going back to this, so launching an e-commerce really is just the first step, right? You choose your e-com provider, you launch your website. That was a lot of work, but you're not done. And that really is, it's what you do after your site goes live that's going to determine the success of your site. And whether we like it or not, that's just the way it is these days because the online world is just so competitive. So SEO, search engine optimization, becomes really, really important. Now, there's a difference between launching a website that's built within an SEO foundation versus the concept of ongoing SEO services, because it is quite different. So hopefully every e-commerce platform that y'all are using is SEO friendly and built in an SEO foundation. But the concept of SEO services or continuously optimizing your website for the purpose of SEO is super important because you need your website to rank, if not on page one, as close to page one as possible. Because these days, no one's going past page one. Used to be, you wanted to be in the top 3 pages, but everybody's attention span is just so much less these days. And if you're not on page one, if you're not towards the top of page one, you're really going to see a huge drop in traffic. And so, I mean, there's some stats on here, but y'all know how important this is and how many people are going to Google, primarily Google, but a whole bunch of search engines, and really searching for products and bikes. Local searches, this product near me, all these different things they're searching. And the stat that speaks to me the most on here is the last 2, really. 50% of near me searches result in a store visit.
Exactly.
78% of local mobile searches result in a store purchase. And of course, that's a local store. So we keep talking about local, we keep talking about buying in store same day. And this is just really why it's all so important. So SEO services, you can, if you have the time and the knowledge, you can work on some of this yourself. But of course, going back to what we were saying earlier, not a lot of retailers have a lot of time, nor do a lot of retailers have the knowledge to even understand what this means. When you think about SEO, you may just think about posting a blog, right? And a blog is important. A blog is content. And if you post a blog and you do that once a week, twice a week, every week, right? You can't just post a blog, 1 blog, 2 blogs, and then get busy and forget about it. You need to continuously be posting. Google wants to see, 1 or 2 fresh new educational blogs every single week. It's all about consistency. But posting that blog is content. That's only one very small piece of an SEO strategy. So Zeke, I'm going to let you take the lead on this slide and talk through like the technical aspects and the different aspects of true SEO.
Absolutely. So, first of all, we all get bogged down into details and what are the new strategies and all that. But you got to keep in mind first, take a huge step back. And, basically SEO is all about, Google has one objective, which is that it wants to serve the users that it has. So if I go on Google and I search for something, Google's goal is to get me what I'm looking for as soon as and as easily as possible. So how does that happen? So if I'm searching for, let's say, a bike part, and your site, and went through the first page, nothing was there. On second page, you were on the second page, for example, and I'm one of those who actually went to second page. And then I saw your site, I clicked on it, and then I found the product that I was looking for, and then I purchased that product. Now, Google knows all of this. So what did Google just realize? Okay, for this term, this website was successful. This user clicked on 4 other websites, couldn't find what he was looking for, she was looking for, but on this site, the user was actually successful. So that gives more weightage for the future searches. So the concept is Google is looking for success. So what you want to do is, you want to basically come up with a finite list of keywords that you feel that you can actually serve. And those keywords can't be, bikes. That's not a keyword. It has to be more granular and, than that, and more specialized than that, because you're going to have to start with longer keywords, 3-word or 4-word keywords. That's where you're going to have to start. That's the reality. And then you work your way down to 2-word, searches. So what we always recommend is, we look at the site that we are tasked to optimize. And then we look at the competition, we look at the current status of the site, we run it through our tools, we ask clients questions as in, what are your top competitor? We see how we are ranking. And then the result of that whole initiative is that we come up with 50 keywords that are realistic and optimizable. And then we make sure that those are keywords that you actually service, as in, if it says, I don't have any good examples. Bike stands. You actually have a good, good set of bike stands, and you have the variety, and this is what people would actually look for. Then that's a search that you should optimize for. So, you basically come up a list of 50, give or take, and then you focus on those and get your site to be recognized for those keywords instead of just doing a generic SEO and generically just trying to optimize for very, very generic words. So focused effort goes much longer.
Yeah.
And then these 4 points, they just help you with achieving that goal. So the goal is clear. We want to be ranked on page 1 or as high as possible for these keywords that we have mutually agreed upon, as in your search engine agency and yourself, or it could be just you who's doing it. Then you got to do these 4 things. This is how you improve the ranking. So technical SEO, what is that? Technical SEO basically is a fancy word for making your website written in a way that is easier for search engines to understand. So like Michelle said earlier, your e-commerce platform has to be search engine friendly, designed in that manner, which is mostly the case now for most of platforms, if not all, but most, I would say. And then what you do is you add additional components to it, as in you use things like Google Schema, where if you're looking at a page, in the background, it tells Google exactly what that page is, what is sold on the page, what is the availability, what's the price. All that stuff is basically put on a platter for Google to understand. So you do things like that. Then you have to make sure that Google is not seeing your website and getting an error. So how do you know that? You go into Google Search Console and see what is being crawled, what has been crawled, what resulted in an error, what needs to be fixed. Google tells you all of these things. So you have to make sure all of that is in place, sitemap is in place. So those are the technical SEO. There's more things, but at a high level, basically,
I'll add to that too. Go to Page Speed Insights. Just Google it. You'll find the website. Enter your website into that tool if you have not yet, and just push enter and just wait a couple of minutes or seconds, however long it takes. It might be eye-opening to see. That's going to give you a score, a mobile score. Click on mobile, click on desktop. Check out what your current website is scored at in the eyes of Google for both mobile and desktop. And then you can scroll down. It's going to give you all sorts of technical stuff. You may not understand it, but that's okay. you'll know green is good, red is bad, right? And it's going to give you a letter grade, a number grade. I forget exactly, but you will, if you haven't checked that out, it may be pretty eye-opening for you.
Absolutely. So you remember how I was saying that, I searched for a bike part, I went to your site and I placed the order. Now, if I had gone to your site.
Oh, Zeke, we don't hear you or see you, Zeke. Not sure.
Oh,
Oh, there you are. You're
I
back.
got disconnected for half a second.
Zoom is
So what
not
I
our
was
friend
saying
today.
is, yeah. So what I was saying is, if I had gone to your site and your site was so slow to respond, and you basically, I was not a happy uh, user, then I would probably leave your site and go somewhere else. And that's where what Michelle was saying, that Google Insights, it tells you a lot of things, primarily the speed of your page. And speed is one of the major factors in ranking, because Google knows you could have the best content, but the page is loading in 2 minutes, then nobody's going to go there because people leave after 5 seconds. So that tool is very, very important. We use it every day, and it will tell you actually three things. One is your speed, so it give you ranking for the speed. Second, it'll give you ranking for your SEO, as in how well you have put this on a platter for Google. And the third would be ADA compliance, which is accessibility. So, it's based off of the Americans with Disability Act. So they're able to, is it compatible with that or not? And that's another discussion, but you probably want to make sure it is. Otherwise, there's a lot of things going on in the industry.
Yeah. And so technical SEO is a lot of what we just talked about there. Content SEO is what I was talking about earlier with blog posts. Then we've got and all sorts of content, right? It's not just blogs, it's product descriptions, it's newsletters, it's just all sorts of content. And then we've got on-site SEO, which is content created and optimized directly on your website. And then we've got off-site SEO. So something that an SEO group or company might be doing for you that might be harder for you yourself to do is you're not just writing content to publish on your own website. You also need content to publish on other websites that then link back to your website. And the days of buying backlinks and all that stuff, I mean, that's really not good practice. You can't do that stuff. It's actually going to hurt you more than it's going to help you. But you do need to get your articles, you need links on websites that maybe even have more domain authority than your website, and then naturally have them link back to your site. That is all part of a really comprehensive digital strategy. And those are the areas where you yourself might have trouble, getting all of it accomplished.
Right. And that content that Michelle's referring to, that has to be useful content, as in, how do I take care of this type of bike? What are the regular maintenance schedule and things like that? So content, those days are gone where you could just do the keyword stuffing and, put, bikes. Those days are gone.
Yeah, it's and that's one of the challenges, right? Google is always changing. The algorithm is always changing. The rules are always changing, which makes it even harder to keep up with, because you really need to work with someone who is an expert and who specializes in this type of stuff, because it's really difficult to keep up with all the rules and all the logic and all the changes, and really make sure you're giving Google exactly what it wants, the way it wants it, which changes, pretty frequently. So what I have here on this screen is just a list really of the different types of content. The phrase content is king. I mean, it's true, or queen. But content is super important, right? And it's not just words stuffed with keywords. It has to be really helpful, engaging content. So whether you're writing blogs, user-generated content, it's what is it, UGC, right? User-generated content, that is very helpful. And guess what? That's easy because you don't have to generate it. You can have your customers help your SEO by giving the opportunity for them on your website to create their own content. So product reviews, customer reviews, let your customers on your website review your products. Make it easy for them. Send them emails. Encourage them to post product reviews, link back to the exact product they bought. all of that content that they're posting on your website is called user-generated content. It all helps with SEO. You can do blogs, you can do newsletters, you can do infographics, you can write educational content so that potential customers, maybe they're not even looking to buy a bike. Maybe they're just looking for tips or tricks or best practices, or here's what I need to do to make sure my bike is ready for the summer, whatever. You can write guides and educational content and then get potential bike customers to subscribe to your content, go to your website. If they're reading a 1,000-word blog, they may stay on your site for 2 or 3 minutes. That's a heck of a lot better than having them click your site and bounce right off. The bounce rate, all of that time spent on site, all of it ends up helping with that SEO strategy. It's all intertwined. So it's not just posting a blog and thinking that that's content. There's a lot of different aspects and a lot of different strategies that you can apply.
Yeah. On user-generated content, another thing that's very helpful is Q&A on product pages.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That usually people have same questions, so it helps a lot.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good point, because FAQ, frequently asked questions, is right now, I would say it's probably Google's best friend for like an SEO perspective. The more pages of your website you can add a little FAQ section, and even if you have a main FAQ page where you maybe have 20 questions, but on individual pages, put your top 2 or 3 questions for each product that's asked, and then just answer that question. The more FAQ little panels you can put on your website, the more Google will push people to your site, and you'll even get a much higher chance of Google featuring your website, your Q&A, as like a featured snippet, which of course, from a Google organic perspective, is not just showing your website organically, but actually showing it as like a featured snippet at the top of the search results, where they're kind of like highlighting your site as an authoritative result. So FAQs are really important. All right, we're going to keep it moving. We're going to shift gears slightly. We're going to stop talking about SEO. We're going to move into mobile marketing and email marketing. So email marketing is super important. I hope that everybody here is at least sending out emails and marketing that way to their customers. But the question I always like to ask is, what type of email marketer are you? Are you not sending emails at all? Are you sending emails, but you're sending out mass emails to your entire customer base and just hoping for the best? Or are you already sending out personalized emails, based on personal preferences? So most everybody, I'm going to probably take a guess, is going to fall into category 2. So it's good, at least you're sending emails, but you can be so much more successful when you send your emails in a different way, when you bring in personalization. And how you do that is through software, right? Whether it's our software or not, it doesn't matter. But through your point of sale and your e-commerce software, you want to pull all of that data from the store data, point of sale, your online, whether it's your e-com, your app, all of that data gets centralized based on the unique email address of your customer. You know exactly what they bought, when they bought it, where they bought it. And then you can send personalized emails based on triggers from within the software. So this is just a list of, what we find to be the most commonly requested automated emails. And the cool part is you set these workflows up, if you have the right platform to do this, you set this stuff up, it's all dynamic, and it's like set it and forget it. Once a customer comes into your store and makes a purchase, or goes on your website or your app and makes a purchase, it triggers the email marketing platform to send out an automated email with whatever that email is, right? So let's say I come into the store, I buy a bike today. Maybe tomorrow, automatically, I get an email from you, the retailer, thanking me for my purchase and recommending I buy all these different products that match the bike that you all know I purchased. Then maybe a week later, I get an automated email encouraging me to post a review and giving me the link for the bike that I bought, linking me right easily to the bike page of the product where I can post that review. That's user-generated content. Now, in that case, you, the retailer, didn't even send the email. It all happened automatically. You know exactly what they bought because it all was integrated with the system. You sent them the email. That email linked me right to the product page. Easy peasy. I posted my review. But now that user generated content is doing two things. It's helping your website from an SEO perspective, right? Because Google loves content, even user generated content. But it's also providing validity for future customers because customers love product reviews, right? When I go
Yes.
shopping, all I want to read is product reviews. And I don't even look at all the good ones. I look at some of the bad ones too, because I want to know how good is it? How bad is it? Right? Because it's not all rainbows and butterflies. But product reviews are really important for a ton of reasons. And you can automate that process and you can get those reviews so much easier by doing automated emails like this. I mean, there's a whole list of things. You can get as creative as you want. Of course, everybody likes to send out those birthday emails, it's February, happy birthday. You can automate all of that. It's easy when it's all connected. Abandoned shopping carts. That is the number one email that our clients all want, right? My customers visited my website. They left all sorts of stuff in the shopping cart and they left. Send automated reminders. Come back and make a purchase. Give them an incentive or not. But just remind your customers to come back and complete those purchases. They still have all those products in your cart. So it's all automated. You're not actually doing anything. It's just set up initially. And then once it's set up, it all just flows based on those triggers. And that's how personalized you can get with an integrated system. And you can actually increase the success of your emails by over 6 times as opposed to sending those mass messages. And think of how many less people will opt out of getting your emails if every email they get is really meant for them and personalized based on their past purchases and their preferences. It's the power of personalization, right? It's just going to help you be much more successful in your marketing strategy. All right, we are just about done. I'm going to wrap this all up because we talked about a lot of different things. I feel like we went a little over, but maybe not because we started a little late. But really, it's all sorts of different areas, right? And you may be sitting here today thinking, wow, this was like drinking from a fire hose. I don't even know where to begin. Or maybe you're already doing a whole bunch of these things and hopefully you learned some little new nuggets. Wherever you sit, it's fine. You just have to start somewhere and start small and just get a little bit more ahead of kind of where you were, right? So, I mean, all these different things we talked about e-commerce, launching a website, revamping your website, giving it a facelift, buy online, pick up in store, buy now, pay later, all these different ways to just make it easier for your customers to shop. We talked about marketplaces, leveraging major brands to help you sell more. They want you to sell more. You're one of their approved retailers. They actually want to push business your way. So take advantage of that. Mobile apps, how it's actually not as difficult as you may think to launch an app and maintain that app. And then think of all the ways you can market via push notifications, literally being in their pocket, right? By the way, one thing I didn't mention, with the push notifications, you can bypass spam filters altogether. So if you're doing email marketing, you're going to notice that your open rates have dipped significantly over the last couple of years. And that's for a lot of reasons. There's email fatigue, but more importantly, spam restrictions are getting harder and harder. More of your emails aren't even making it to your customers' inboxes. And it's because of deliverability challenges. Well, think about a push notification. It goes right to your customer's phone. You don't even have to worry about spam filters because it's literally going right to their phone like a text message, and you're bypassing all of that. So I'm not saying replace email marketing with push notifications, but if you combine it, you'll get the best online strategy. And then of course, SEO, Zeke spoke mostly about that, but it's really, really important. Even if you can't do all of it, just to focus on some of it, whether it's content, technical. But that technical SEO is really, really important. It's much more important than people realize. And as you move forward, as you make changes to your site, you could be impacting that and not even realizing it. So I really do recommend y'all go to Page Speed Insights, run that report, just get a pulse as to where your website is today and kind of where you're at and look at what you need to work on. And then, of course, the email marketing, the mobile marketing, push notifications. We didn't even talk about text messaging, text message marketing, but there's all sorts of different things and different strategies that you can and should incorporate, as you move forward.
Excellent. Michelle and Zeke, this has been so much fabulous information. And I've had a couple of our participants today that were attendees asking if we'll share this, and the NBDA will put this on our YouTube channel and share it out to our members. We do have a couple of questions, if I could ask you to answer live.
Sure.
The first one is around the website. The retailer asks, how often should we be looking to give our website a facelift?
Zeke,
All
I'll
right.
let you answer that one.
Yes. So, I have a kind of childish answer to that, which is, e-commerce is like dog years. So, so it gets, everything just changes so fast, and it just goes at very fast pace. I would say if I have to put a number, it varies very much. It depends is the correct answer, but I will give you time frame. I will say 3 years to 4 years, you should give a facelift.
Excellent. Yep. The next one is around, and I think, Michelle, you touched on this right at the end, push SMS, text messaging. This question comes in and asks about chat functions installed on websites.
Let me actually address that one. So absolutely 100%, you must have a chat function on your website, on every website, and try to be available for longer hours. Having a chat with no attendant doesn't really do much good. So that's a must have. There's so many software out there you can use, and it's very, very inexpensive. On the text messaging, that's also effective, but it's changing. So laws have changed where it's not that easy to send a text message to people, especially for marketing. There's a lot of red tape that has been added in the last 6 to 9 months where you have to go through verification, where, basically anti-spam laws is what's come into play. And that, so it still works, and but there's more red tape. So you'll have to jump through some hoops to get that going.
I'm going to mention three really short things just to piggyback on some of the stuff Zeke said. First, with the live chat on your website, there's really cool tools out there, especially, everyone hears about AI all the time and different things, but you can, depending on the tool you use for your website, you can get a live chat where you have someone just manning it all day, answering the chats. But you can also set conversations up, and you can really, so that it's more self-serving 24/7, even when you're sleeping, where your chat can engage with your customer, answer questions. Depending on the tool you use will depend on how deep you can go, but there's some really cool things that you can do with like automated chatbots these days too. And then for the SMS, so the mass messaging definitely has challenges, but for things like with our software, for example, not to keep coming back to that, but we have an integration with Twilio, and like from the point of sale, what's really easy is to do one-to-one messages. Like I can send a message from our point of sale to this customer telling them that their repair is ready, or reminding them of their reservation or their rental or whatever. So there's ways that you can do like one-to-one SMS text messaging from the point of sale that is, outside of that whole mass messaging umbrella that Zeke was talking about. And the other thing I want to mention is the push notification. So it's not, when you're talking about a mobile app and you're talking about incorporating those push notifications, that's different from text messaging, although it looks exactly the same, right? It's sending the customer downloads your app, they opt in, they allow push notifications when they hopefully download the app and create their account. And then you don't want to be spamming them every day because they're very quickly going to turn off notifications, right? But if they allow you to send notifications and then you personalize those notifications, you can send those push notifications direct to their phone, just like a text message, but it's actually not a text message. So it's another really good way to kind of minimize all that red tape and legalities that Zeke said with the SMS.
Excellent. You guys are just a wealth of knowledge. We have one more question that came in, and Michelle, I think it dials into what you were mentioning about the facts and how that retailers should have a facts section almost on several pages of their website.
Mhm.
There is a certain number of facts that, should be included in that, or could it just be one or two? And then how often do they need to update those facts, or just having them is the big thing there? There's just additional.
Yeah, I don't know that there's a magic number. I think what's more important than that is what you're putting as those FAQs. You always want to look at it. I mean, we are Celerant.com, right? Our website, I've got FAQs everywhere. But what I have on each of our pages is 5 on the bottom. 5 FAQs was the magic number that I chose, but that's not any magic number. I think what's most important, and this is what you always want to ask yourself when you're creating your website, when you're writing content, what is the most relevant question on this particular page? Or I'm on this particular product page. What are the most important questions that my customers always ask? If there's 2, if there's 3, if there's 6, whatever there are, put them on the page and write them in a way that if someone goes to Google and asks that question on Google, you want it worded in that exact same simple conversational tone on your website as your customer might put it into Google. Don't try to sound fancy. Don't try to make it all. You want to type, I mean, literally, they say when you write content, used to be, you want to write as if you're speaking to a 7th grader. Do you know what it is now?
Fifth.
4th grader.
Okay.
So, whatever. But the point is, if you type the FAQ on your website exactly how your customer might go to Google and type it, and there's tools, by the way, that you can use to see exactly what your customers are typing into Google. That's how you want it on your website, because that is what Google wants. Google, to Zeke's point, Google wants to know that your website is going to give them what it knows they want. So the more you can hone in on that, that should really be your magic, number.
Another thing that's very valuable. So you remember how we were talking about technical SEO and how putting things on platter for Google? So this is one of those things. So, you have FAQs on your site, on your page. You can make that part of the Google schema, the platter that we give Google. And then it not only that Google reads it easily, it actually shows up in the search results, as in it will actually show that piece in the Google page, not on your site. Google page will show you that stuff. So reviews work the same way. So reviews are super important, as Michelle said, and FAQs as well. But to get extra advantage out of that, if you do it, inside the Google schema, it'll work much better.
And I'm going to give it one more little nugget because I just think it's interesting. And I'm a marketing geek, obviously. But, I'm playing around with ChatGPT. I use it every day now at this point, right, to help with just what we're doing. And hopefully y'all are experimenting with it too, where you can. But we have FAQs all over our Celerant.com website. On our pricing page, of course, we have 5 FAQs that are very specific to pricing questions. The most important question is, how much does Celerant's point of sale software cost? Well, when I was typing that into AI the other day just to see what happened, it literally gave me a snippet of our FAQ, and the AI came back and said, and it verbatim said, Celerant's point of sale in e-commerce can start at $125 a month for the point of sale. So those FAQs verbatim, it's exactly going to be given to people who are searching online. And I don't even think I was typing Celerant. I think I just asked, how much does point of sale software cost? So those FAQs are really, really important, and I think will really give you a ton of help from an SEO perspective.
Just to add tiny bit more to that. So, Michelle mentioned ChatGPT. The potential is endless. I mean, that's the future. We have to accept it. But, let's say you're having trouble coming up with the FAQs and you have, 10 paragraph on the page, you can just paste all those and ask ChatGPT to give you FAQs.
Mm-hmm.
It will tell you exactly what those people will ask the question, because it's going to read the entire text that you fed it. And then it's going to, based on all the things that it knows, it's going to come up with FAQs for you.
Speaking of which,
leverage AI.
We should consider, if you think it's a topic that your members would like, we could even do another session just like this. Zeke and I talking all about AI and real practical ways that retailers can use AI right now to help them with their digital strategy and just get retail tasks, pricing, profit optimization, predictive site search. There's so much stuff in the AI conversation that we can host a whole nother session on if there's interest.
I think that sounds absolutely amazing. I mean, it's refreshing to sit in a room with experts, you know, that you've got this dialed. So I love that you've got your contact on the screen here for our listeners, and I do hope our listeners follow those links. We will be, as I said, sharing this on our YouTube and with our members. I can't thank you both enough for your expertise today, and for our attendees for the fabulous questions. Thank you so much, Michelle and Zeke.
Awesome. I'm going
Thank
to
you
add
so much
one last
for
thing
having
just
us.
to close us out. That last link, of course, the first two links are all about Celerant, right? And of course, NBDA and our awesome partnership. But that last link, I really recommend, even if you're not looking at replacing software today, go to that last link, subscribe to our blog. We talked all about blogs, right? So we at Celerant have a very, very active blog. But what we are blogging about once or twice a week minimal is retail technology. So how can you as a retailer leverage technology, embrace technology to be more successful, sell more, save time, all the things that we're talking about here. And you know, my team and I write most of those blogs. So it's all the stuff that we talked about today is posted in a blog once or twice a week. So if nothing else, I encourage y'all to subscribe to that blog, and you'll learn a ton just by reading some of those articles that we publish every week. But great to be here, Heather. Thank you so much for having us.
No,
Thank
thank you.
you,
I
Heather.
just subscribed to your blog. It took 30 seconds, so everyone should. Appreciate
Awesome.
it. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate
Bye,
it.
all. Thanks.
Bye-bye.